What's good, YouTube? Welcome back, guys. Exciting video coming your way today. Informative one, definitely one not to be missed. We went through a video similar to this 4 weeks ago where we spoke about the 4 stocks to watch and day trade every single day without the need of a catalyst. And that sector we focused on was the EV sector. Today, I want to introduce you guys to a new hot sector to focus on. And in that sector, the stocks attached to that sector, you can day trade every single day without the need of a catalyst. Because these stocks will give you enough percentage moves every single day to be able to profit from as a day trader. So let's get right into it, guys. And as always, don't forget that smashy. Okay, guys. So in the last video, similar to this, we spoke about the 4 stocks that you can trade every single day without the need of a catalyst or news. And that's just because these stocks are in a hot sector, the EV sector, electric vehicle sector. Now, today, guys, I'm going to introduce you to a newer sector. Now, this one is the hydrogen fuel, which is really related to the EV sector. So, the reason why I give you these stocks is because, well, they have enough volatility to be able to day trade every single day. So I know on this channel we spoke about earning reports, but on the days where you don't have earning reports, luckily, guys, you have a different alternative, which is to focus on these stocks, sectors like the EV sector. And if you just Google electric vehicle stocks, now you have a list of all these companies, guys, that have just emerged, including General Motors, which is basically last week announced that it's getting into this field. And it's an American company. So you have a list of these companies, guys, going after electric vehicles. However, today I'm going to introduce you to a newer sector, which is the hydrogen fuel sector, clean energy, which is really attached to the Biden administration. Now, the Biden administration is keen on kind of going after clean energy. And obviously, they are closely related to the electric vehicle sector because, you know, that's what it's made for in the first place. So here, guys, you can trade stocks like Plug Power. We also have BLDP, FCEL, AFC. Okay, now these companies, guys, are basically working in the same sector, so you will see them performing the same thing. Now look at this trend here. This was Friday's trend, and look at this trend here. It's the same kind of behavior, guys, as you can tell. Okay, just like when electric vehicle stocks kind of in that same sector perform the same thing, you will see a correlation of trends on the same day. So they all work in the same sector. So here, you will have to do exactly what you used to do with electric vehicles if you watched that last video I made, which is really looking at the volatility. Now you can see here, guys, the volatility on that day, and this was an exceptional day, by the way, just because we had a sell-off, was almost 10%. Now, on days like this, where a stock moves 10%, then you're expecting a recovery of at least 5%. But again, on days where there is a sell-off and there is a recovery, which we will have hopefully going forward, we will see a recovery that is basically something you won't be able to see in earning reports. So you got to be able to analyze trends, but also look at the sentiment of these stocks, just like you would with electric vehicles on the day. The sentiment of the market, the sentiment of the sector, which tells you exactly the direction these stocks want to head in. And look, that's all to do with support levels and resistance lines, but also, guys, the news that comes out for the overall market on the day. And you can find such news on basically Google News. You're looking at this stock here, Plug Power. JP Morgan downgraded it, and it said basically it's fair value, so it ended up selling off. But in this market, guys, nobody wants to wait for a stock to be fairly valued to buy into a hot sector. Everybody is attached to these stocks because they don't want to miss out on the action. So stocks like Plug is something that I'm actually attracted to. And I do have in my long-term portfolio, but I'm also day trading it every single day alongside electric vehicle stocks. And if Plug isn't something that you're interested in, then there's other alternatives such as BLDP, which, by the way, also react in the same behavior. So you can see this big jump, guys, these stocks had in the last couple of months, especially after the Biden administration, or basically he was announced president. Well, not yet, but going forward, we will see these stocks really being the center of attention, because the administration is big on clean energy. And just like back in the day when Trump got handed the presidency, a lot of electric or a lot of steel companies, because there was talks of quote unquote building a wall, they got hyped up. But obviously that was a false promise, and it never happened. He never went for these companies. So they ended up really pumping and then dumping. However, in this case, I believe, guys, stocks like Plug and these other companies here, because they have a use, which is really electric vehicles, we will see more money being pumped into these stocks, which could raise the value of these companies. Now, for me, I want to take advantage two ways. Number one, I want to be able to swing trade them, but also day trade them. Now, with swing trading such companies, you have a lot of volatility, days where you can have a drop of 10%, and basically a spike by 10% on other days. So you have to be, aware of this volatility here. But that's good for me as a day trader at the same time, because I can take advantage of such opportunities. Again, when you're plugged in, right, to this sector or to a specific sector, everything becomes easy for you, because you know the ins and outs and you can tell the sentiment of the stock. Just like I would tell the sentiment of the electric vehicle sector by looking at macroeconomics news for this specific industry on the day, and it tells me the direction. Now, usually, guys, the direction in a fearful market is downwards, but always a recovery. But remember, it is a bull market, so there will always be a recovery with these stocks. So you will see a lot of V-shaped patterns forming, such as you see here. Now, Friday was a sell-off, so we didn't have a full V-shaped pattern, etc., etc. But on average, if you just keep watching these stocks, you will find the trend. And these stocks you can trade every day, okay? You don't need to have news. You don't have to have a catalyst to trade these stocks. You can trade them without any catalysts, just because they do move on average by 2 to 3, 5% on a specific day. So that's really what I'm watching going forward alongside electric vehicles is hydrogen kind of fuel energy or hydrogen energy stocks. So they are hot, and I like stocks that are hot. So hopefully, guys, you can take advantage of this as well. You can day trade and swing trade them, but be aware, because some of these stocks are overly inflated just because there's a lot of hype. So on days where there's fear, you will see a major sell-off. Now, surely, guys, if we were to talk about electric vehicle stocks, we have stocks, American stocks, that are just basically well-known brands that are tapping into this industry. And you got to diversify if you're swing trading. You got to diversify and hold multiple companies. And you can see everything is all-time high. So it is a bet you have to make. Will this economy or will these companies breach that kind of resistance they have and go further with their development, or is this just a bubble, just like the dot-com bubble, which is really what it is. It's just like the dot-com bubble, guys. Now, it's the race to see which company will come out and survive, and that's what we're here to do, is not speculate, but put our chips on the table and bet on these companies. So it's always good to diversify if you're swing trading. Do not fall in love with one company like Tesla, for example, because when other companies here start producing cars and sales, this here will be devalued. It will stop being the company of the future, and it'll just start being one of the companies of the future, because there's other companies here that are taking over as well. So that's my 2 cents on this matter, guys. Again, these are the stocks that you can trade every day. Alongside the electric vehicle sector. Okay, you can just Google them, and again, to be able to day trade this, you're going to have to be wired in and plugged into the market and analyzing sentiments on the day, seeing any positive news coming from the Biden administration, which will lift all of these stocks, okay, together. That's me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. As always, don't forget that smashy. Peace and love. Alrighty, we're done, guys. You heard it here first. Just like always, don't forget that smashy. Now, guys, when swing trading these stocks, be careful of the volatility. Make sure to diversify, because you've seen here that these stocks are very volatile. They can move by 5-10%. But as a day trader, you want volatility, which is good for you. Now, the only thing you have left here is to identify the direction of these stocks. And you do that by analyzing market sentiment and the sector sentiment on the day, and using key levels to give you an indication. And usually the pattern repeats itself. It's the same one time and time again. And you will have to identify that for yourself. Now, guys, for those on the inside, you guys will see some of these stocks shared on the chat room and the daily game plan. And if you see them, then now you know the reason why I'm giving them out. And I'll tell you the reason, just like I've been doing for every sector that I introduced you to. If there isn't an earnings report, then you can always have a fallback now, which is trading EV stocks or energy stocks, these stocks specifically. Now, that's me done. Appreciate you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.